love how Ben has come in and he's kind to the media, but he's also very intense, right? Like he's very scheduled, very regimented. He's clearly made a change and an impact with those guys. Like they joke around with him, they cuss back and forth or whatever. And you can just tell that there's like a lightheartedness, but also like when it's time for business, it's time for business.
Welcome into another week, another great conversation. I have Kacy Standohar here with me for another great conversation. And Kacy works for NBC5 Chicago. Kacy, we've known each other for a couple of years now, built a great friendship. How are you doing today?
Nick, I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on. I'm very excited to talk Bears on this special New Year's Eve edition, right? Everybody's like home with family and just buzzing about the Bears. I feel like it's been an exciting time to be in Chicago and covering this team. And even if you're not in Chicago covering this team, it's one of those teams I'm seeing on like Get Up this morning. And I'm watching Get Up and they're like, this is the team that surprised most people. Like this is the team that no one expected to go 11-5 right now.
Crazy. Yeah, everyone sees my Bronner Locker jersey behind me. That was the last time the Bears team was even remotely good. So we're all excited here in Chicago. And you covering the team, I saw you there in the locker room after that Packers game, and that was probably one of the best games in the franchise's history. Just take me inside that locker room and what that environment was like and what all the players were saying and how media was reacting to it.
Well, you know how it is to be in the press box, right? Like you're not supposed to like excessively cheer. Now I'm obviously wearing a Bears hat and I'm excited to be a Bears fan, but when you're in the press box, you have to kind of like be neutral, unbiased. And so when DJ Moore caught that pass, we were like silently like, yeah, like it was like the quiet, like, yeah, like, and so we were all really excited, but we were trying not to be like, overly excited. And then we went down to the locker room and it was just amazing. Like the experience was so cool. I've never seen DJ that happy. Like when he got the game ball and Ben Johnson gave him the game ball and he was like, yeah, it's about damn time. Like he hadn't been targeted a lot before then. So you could tell that he was really juiced up about finally being a target for Caleb Williams again and just being in the right place, the right time. And just that play that they worked on in practice, it all paid off. It worked for them. And so it was so exciting. I am afraid we're going to see the Packers again in the playoffs. But I guess if you're looking at the other teams you could potentially play, the Packers would be the team you want because they're not as strong at this point. That 49ers game was ridiculous, back and forth, a total shootout. So, yeah, we'll see. But definitely an exciting locker room that weekend just to be able to come back from a loss at Green Bay and then win was awesome.
And watching all these games and what the Bears have done, just winning these close games, blocking field goals, game-winning field goals, last-second touchdowns, and people are saying, this might be the team of destiny. How do you see this team and just what's helped them win all these games late?
Totally. I think they're destined for greatness. I think that's really fair to say because they're already so much better than anyone expected, like I said earlier. They are improving every year. They're confident under Ben Johnson. You have coaches like Antoine Randall L and Dennis Allen, the defensive coordinator, just all these guys who are just pumped up to be coaching this team. And you're seeing a locker room with camaraderie and excitement and they're friends and they're doing Secret Santa gift exchanges. And so I think that stuff matters on the field too, right? And like you're seeing Caleb Williams do his interview with the kicker, Cairo Santos, because he knows that they don't win some of these games without him kicking great field goals. And so we didn't see that from Caleb last year. We didn't see that from a lot of these guys. DJ Moore was more kind of reserved. And now the addition of Rome Odunze, you look at some of the rookies like Luther Burden III, who's an incredible emerging talent wide receiver. Like, I'm not sure if he's going to beat out Rome for his job. You know what I mean? So with Rome being out, but like there's just talent. And we talk about the rookies too that are contributing often and early. Colston Lovell in the tight end. Everybody was like, why are they drafting another tight end? They already have Cole Kmet. They want to do different personnel changes. And he's been, a great decision. So a lot of the decisions that we thought maybe were a little iffy in the draft in April have been like, oh, okay, now we get it,
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about early in the season. You're like, where's Colston Loveland? Where's Luther Burden? Where
Right.
are these draft picks? And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, here they are and flourishing in this offense.
Yeah.
As someone who's seen this team from the inside, how have you seen Ben Johnson change the culture of this team, but also like do this maybe what people would say a year ahead of schedule?
Yeah. Well, I think that Bears fans deserve ahead of schedule, right? Because we've been
Mm-hmm.
so
Oh
behind
yeah.
schedule. We've
Oh
been
yeah.
so like, oh my God, when's it going to get better? And the Eberflus era was tough, and everything before that was tough. So I love how Ben has come in, and he's kind to the media, but he's also very intense, right? Like he's very scheduled, very regimented. He's clearly made a change and an impact with those guys. Like they joke around with him, they cuss back and forth or whatever. And you can just tell that there's like a lightheartedness, but also like when it's time for business, it's time for business. And I appreciate that in a coach. And I just think when we watched Hard Knocks 2 years ago, remember the Hard Knocks season with the Bears?
Yeah, don't remind me. That was terrible.
Everybody was like so excited. But I remember when like Matt Eberflus hosted that party, my fiance called me. He's like, the Bears are doomed. They're doomed. Like
Oh yeah, no.
he's too concerned with his haircut and not with
They made Eberflus look so good, so good.
I know. So anyway, to come back from that and have this season, and Ben Johnson, was once fighting to feed the city. Now we're fighting for home playoff games and one seeds and just the playoffs in general, which is just so exciting because it was kind of like a joke at first, right? Like, oh yeah, if Caleb Williams scores 4 touchdowns, you guys get free hot dogs. Okay, if he takes his shirt off, you get free hot dogs. And like these things are happening, and I see Bears clothing selling out at stores, and people are talking about the Bears on the train and on my way into work, and that wasn't happening last year. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
everybody knows. Yeah.
Ben has just totally changed the culture. He's changed the fan base. He's changed the way those players feel, and he's making them even more confident. Like I think people think like Caleb Williams used to be kind of like a selfish guy, self-centered, more into himself and his fashion than he was his team. And I've seen a shift in him,
For sure, yeah. And we all know that Chicago is a Bears town. Like if the Bears are doing, like you said, everybody is talking about it and everyone's gathering around this team. You said I really appreciate about Ben Johnson is like he doesn't like shy away from anything. Like he'll tell you exactly how he's feeling and takes accountability. He
Yeah.
talks to every Monday or Tuesday whenever he has that Zoom conference. Like he's like,
Mm-hmm.
I regret this play call. I should have done this better. So
Yeah.
as somebody in the media who talks to him, like how refreshing is that for you to just have someone who doesn't sugarcoat things?
Yeah. Well, Matt Eberflus, and I hate comparing them because I'm not saying Matt was a terrible coach, but it's just so different, right? Like he would kind of just shrug it off or say some kind of coach speak that makes you think like he didn't really hear what I had to say. He's answering these reporters' questions honestly. Now, Ben Johnson is saying, like, yeah, I didn't like the play call there, or I made the wrong call, or I didn't get my guys set in time, or he takes accountability, he takes ownership, and they fix it for next time. We're seeing the change, not like another game where it's like, oh my God, they made that mistake last week, or another this or another that. And like, does the team still need work? Did Colson Loveland have some, tough drops? Luther Burden had a drop. Like, yeah, but like, we're seeing these guys get better every week, and we're seeing accountability from the team, and we're seeing guys like veterans like DJ and Cole Kmet and some of these guys who have been around for a while get to kind of like reap the benefit and the reward of their hard work. Like they've been through some shit, right? So it's just cool to see the accountability from coach and how he's kind of changing their mindsets, because I think they're treating the job differently. The players, it's their job at the end of the day. And so they're treating the job differently because of the way Ben is teaching them and because of the way that he brought in the staff with confidence. And even like I was walking down the hallway at Hallis Hall last week and George McCaskey like waved to me and I was like, hey, George, like everyone's in a good mood because the Bears are winning. And even last week with the 49ers, like, yeah, they lost, but people aren't sad about it. They were like, hey, hell of a game. Like but you got to be able to put up 38 points and still win. So the defense took accountability. Kevin Byers said in the locker room, like, yeah, we didn't do enough. And so again, the accountability is trickling out throughout the rest of the team.
No moral victories after the game, but if you're a Bears fan, you're thinking, hey, you're hanging in with a team who's playing for the number 1 seed in the NFC.
And we made them punt, right? Like we we're good against this 49ers team. And I know that like on third down, coach was saying like, hey, we were 0 for 3 on third down. They were 5 for 7. So there's definitely improvements, but like you can see his wheels turning post game about wanting to fix things. And I think that's just cool. Like he's obviously just excited about becoming a better coach. And I hope Ben Johnson stays forever. I was just telling a friend this the other day. I said, I hope he's like our coach until we're like old. You know what I mean? Just stay forever until he retires.
Yeah, I mean, what he's done this first year, I think he, maybe give him a lifetime contract or
Yeah,
something like that. I mean,
for sure.
he took his shirt off and fed the city too, so you can't be too
Right.
upset
Right.
with that. One more game left in the regular season, and you have the playoffs. What do we think the Bears will do this? Are they gonna, play some starters so that they can get that 2 seed for sure? Or what are we thinking there?
Well, I think so. I think you can't count the Lions out yet. I know that Dan Campbell's had a tough year without Ben Johnson. I know that Jared Goss had a tough year, tough couple of games. I think he threw a couple interceptions. And then I went to my fiance's bowl game and they threw a bunch of interceptions. And I was like, wow, you guys are like the Lions. Like he was, I teased him. But yeah, I mean, Lions have struggled. And I think we need this. We got to play our starters. We got to play smart. We have to take this seriously. Like we can't just like look forward to the playoffs and not think about this Sunday, right?
Mhm.
I'll be at the game. I'm excited. It's going to be cold. For me, it feels like a rematch from week 2 when the Bears lost to the Lions. And I think we have a lot to improve upon. So I'm excited to see, what the Bears have done since playing the Lions last, what they've changed, what they've fixed, how they've grown. And I just think that we're going to see a different Bears team out there. And so we'll see if Rome comes back healthy. I know he's been out for a bit. A lot of the guys were battling illness last week. It was interesting to see how so many of them were like wearing masks on the plane and, kind of struggling. And Darnell Wright came separately. So clearly a bug going around, as you and I were talking about. But I think you take this game as seriously as any of the other ones, finish out the season with another win, try to go 12-5, and then prepare for the wild card,
Oh, flying dudes out on separate planes. I mean, that's dedication right
That's
there.
what I'm saying. Yeah, like they could have easily let Darnell Wright stay home, but he came with a trainer and just kind of made it work. And so I don't know. I'm excited to see what the Bears can do this week. I know they're going to take it seriously. I don't think Ben's worried. He calls it like the tournament. He's like, I'm not worried about the tournament until it comes, So it's like that one game at a time mentality. And I think that even though that's kind of like cliche, it matters. It matters right now because you got to beat the Lions. They haven't had a good year. So if you go 11-6 and lose to the Lions at the end of the year, and I know that like the Lions schedule was tougher this year than the Bears, and I'll be curious to see how the Bears do next year when their schedule is a little tougher. Like, is it smoke and mirrors? I don't think so. But if they do have a tougher schedule next year, how does that change things? Do they have to win games earlier and not those final cardiac Bears 2 minutes where they kind of pull something together and make it work? I'll be curious to see.
That Eagles win, and now it's like, oh yeah, the Bears, they can beat anybody now. So
Right.
I think the Bears already kind of silenced that argument.
Totally. I think I was hanging out with my friend and her dad said, look, if the Bears can beat the Eagles, then they're for real. Right.
Yeah.
And so I just think like they have continuously proven themselves and made it really interesting and just a fun year to be covering the team. I mean, you just never know what's going to happen. And when they do lose, you're sad, but you're also like, all right, we'll get them next week. We'll get them next time. Way different.
And yeah, you jumped right into this. I mean, you're starting out at NBC5, and then you go right into the Bears season.
Right.
And they have the best season in years. I mean, what do you think? Is it part of you joining up, or what are we thinking here?
I'll take the credit. I'll take the credit, Nick. No, I mean, my first year at NBC has been fantastic. I'm coming up on a year here in January, and it's been a great job. It's been a great gig. I love my coworkers, my teammates. My producers are fantastic. So I'm so blessed to be able to cover these Chicago teams, the Bears obviously being one of the most exciting, but that's not all. I mean, I got to cover the Cubs in the postseason. They lost to the Brewers, but it was still a fun time for the Cubs. I know the White Sox are still rebuilding, and they've got a good new first baseman from Japan. So I'm excited to see how they can improve. Bulls have been up and down. Blackhawks have been up and down. But again, it's been an exciting time to cover all the teams. And I just love the variety of it because there's just so much to do. No day is the same. And I see the ups and downs. The Fire are getting a new stadium, which will be awesome. Northwestern's getting a new stadium, which is going to be unbelievable. So it's exciting times to be over here at NBC, and we get to do a lot of things. We have the Super Bowl this year. We also have the Olympics coming up. So good time to be part of the Peacock family.
Nice. What have you realized about as a media member just working in a top 3 market?
Yeah, that's a great question. Probably that just you have to be on top of everything. You can't especially my job, I don't just focus on one beat. I don't just cover the Bears, so you have to kind of cover the Bears all week, but be ahead of the game on what's going on with the Hawks or what's going on with the Blackhawks or what are the college teams playing and who are they playing and how are they doing, and also finding good feature stories. It's a lot to be kind of have your head in 10 different places. So it's good though. I like the variety again, like I said, and I just think it's kind of one of those things that just never stops. Even after I cover a game on Sunday, the next morning I wake up and listen to sports radio and then come in on Monday and talk to Dave Wanstead about the game, and we recap the game and kind of break it all down. And so you really never stop covering a team. And if you do, you're kind of behind. And so I've learned that in the top 3 market, you have to stay on top of everything and be sharp and just have fun with it too, because at the end of the day, your audience just wants to hear you, talking about these teams and being helpful, helping them understand these teams better. A little more pressure, of course, because you get the occasional DM or tweet that someone doesn't like you or someone doesn't like watching you. But it's also nice on the flip side to get the love that you see. I was walking down the street a couple weeks ago to get going to Walgreens, and someone stopped me and they were like, "Hey, we love watching you on our TV every night. Thanks so much for being a part of the sports team." And so it just warms your heart to know people are watching, people recognize you, people care about what you have to say, and they see the work you're putting in.
Definitely, those compliments go a long way. And
Yeah.
for you too, I mean, you bet on yourself because you moved to Chicago in 2018,
Yeah.
and you worked a bunch of different freelance jobs until you got to this point. So what would 2018 Kacy think now, looking back at that?
She wouldn't believe it, honestly. And I believe in myself, but I still think it would be crazy because I moved here and I always wanted to work at NBC Chicago. And I came here in college in 2012. And I was like, oh my God, I would love to work here. I took a picture in front of the building and it was just my dream. And to be able to say that I do work here now is such a cool full circle moment. And I feel really blessed. I feel like my hard work has paid off, but I'm also, not quite at the peak, right? I want to keep growing and learning and getting better and being a better sideline reporter and being better at writing packages and being better live in the studio. I always want to get better. But it's been cool because I came here knowing really nobody, and we met, and I started to build, relationships and train and work on my craft and just cover all these high school games and smaller games. And I covered NPF Pro Softball and Athletes Unlimited, and and DePaul gave me a chance, and I've grown to just love my relationship with DePaul and the Big East. And so it's been cool kind of to see how word of mouth and just hustling, how far that can actually get you.
Yeah, that's where we met when you were covering the state boys basketball
Right.
tournament
Yes.
in Champaign.
Yes.
That was cool. And then I just wrote down all these things. So yeah, you worked for the IHSA. You were the host for Illinois football. You've done some college football for ESPN, CHGO, Big East softball, baseball that you mentioned, and then you have the DePaul podcast.
Yeah.
All those things, wide resume. What have you learned from all those things that you've now taken into this NBC gig?
Well, that's a great question, Nick. I think it's just to be versatile and that relationships matter, right? It's been great because I covered Illinois football last year. I could go down with NBC and call Brett Bielema and ask if I can do an interview with him and Luke Altmaier, right? Because I did this thing before, it helps me with the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And because I covered the IHSA state basketball and state football tournaments for a couple years, I knew the right people to reach out to for a certain story for NBC, so relationship building is everything in this business. You know that, I know that. Networking is so important, and just maintaining those relationships too, because you could say yeah, hi, can you watch my reel? But then to follow up with that person months later or a year later and keep kind of staying in the know with them is really key. sports jobs are hard to come by and hard to keep. I think you know that. I know that.
Mhm.
And so when you find one that you like, you got to stick to it and make it work, because more and more these days, people are cutting back on their sports departments. People are cutting back on sideline reporting. People are, just changing their minds about how sports looks. So even in Chicago, right? Like
Mhm.
even in Chicago, we have to fight for our airtime and fight for stories in the A block. And um, our bosses are open to that. But again, news runs it and weather runs the show. So I would just say through all the things I've done before, I've learned to just be versatile, say yes to everything, and build relationships.
Yeah, through all the connection building that you've done, and getting all these different gigs, how has that helped you as well? Because you mentioned like the connection's a big key. So, and
Yeah.
you build it, and you're like, you can go to Brett Bielema, you can go to a school and know
Yeah.
what's the importance of that for you over the years?
I just think when you come here and you don't know anyone, you have to start from scratch, right? Like I didn't know a soul. And so I was outside like the United Center with my own little microphone and my own tripod, just like shooting stand-ups for Jill to watch, like that was like what I was doing when I started. And so when you build connections, it starts to get a little bit easier and you get more comfortable, right? Like then you don't feel as nervous about doing that thing because you've done it before, or that person and they make you feel comfortable, and the PR person that could help you get the interview. And there's still hurdles. Like I think a lot of times some of these teams don't want you around, right? Like they would rather like control the media instead of the media control them, and I totally get that from a public relations standpoint. But relationship building is key. And I think it's just helped me overall just be more comfortable in these rooms, because when you're going into a locker room for the Bears, for example, I'm not the only woman in there. Like, yeah, they're showering and changing and doing their thing, and but it's me and a couple other women who work at WGN, Fox, CHSN, CBS, ABC. So it's cool to see other women in these roles doing these things too. And you're not the only woman kind of like in this sea of scrum with a bunch of Bears beat reporters who have been doing it way longer than you. So it's less intimidating that way too.
Being in that environment, like you're saying, what would be the biggest thing that you would tell or people about how to be in that environment?
Be professional, be helpful. Like it's so nice. Like say if someone doesn't have a photographer, like with them, I'll hold the mic for the person because they're shooting. Like be able to help other people, because you never know when you're going to need help from them too, right? So, I just think that I would tell like students or anyone who wants to be in this role one day to, again, build connections, be helpful to others. Don't think you come in there as the top dog. Nobody does, right? Especially in Chicago, like you will get knocked back down real fast. And just respect the people who have done it before you, because they're more willing to help you if you are respectful to them. You're guys like Casey Johnson and Sam Smith who cover the Bulls for forever. You kind of have to go into that knowing like, okay, this is kind of where they are, this is where I am, and if I want to be that one day, how can I respectfully learn from them? Ask questions too. Like I went over to one of the other reporters for another station, and I said, hey, how do you approach like getting this story from the Bears? How would you approach pursuing this feature idea? And she gave me great advice. And so it's okay to be like not the know-it-all. It's okay to just go in and say, I need help, or how would you do this? Because people are more willing to help you when you come to them with that kind of like empathy and humbleness about yourself.
Is there an interview or a player you look back on that you're like, wow, this really like struck me? Or is there some like Chicago athlete that people should know about that people are like, wow, I love this guy or love this woman?
Yeah, I'm really proud of getting to interview Pete Crow Armstrong pretty early in the season last year. It was right when he was kind of like, you know, on the upswing and having a really good season. And I was able to talk to Cubs PR, thankful to them, and get to know him a little bit in the dugout for like 5-10 minutes. And I love that because the Cubs weren't offering that same interview to other people. And then right after that, he was like just out of this world, having a great year. And so he was harder to reach, right? So kind of just like being in the know at the right place, right time, getting to know him as a person. He loves to golf. He is so driven to be a good baseball player, and he takes advice from guys like Justin Turner and the guys who have done it before him. And I feel like he's not done yet. We're going to see a lot more from PCA, and I'm excited about just him as a player and his development. So it was cool to get to talk to him. I'm really excited about that, having that interview on my resume. Gosh, I don't know. It's hard. I mean, there have been so many. I got to interview Kat Osterman back when I worked at Athletes Unlimited, and she was incredible, like Olympic pitcher, like just a legend. She's so much taller than me, so it probably looked ridiculous, but like just getting to meet people that I wouldn't otherwise meet and learn their story and kind of shed light on their path, I think it's been really cool.
PCA, yeah, he seems like a vibe. Every time I look at him, like he's got like the weird hair, or he's dyeing his hair, or something like that.
Well, he was like wearing a hood and he had like dyed hair when I interviewed him, but it was still awesome. Like he was so down to earth. And even when the Cubs PR people were like, hey, wrap it up, one more question, I think I asked him maybe 2 more questions and he didn't care. He just chilled. You know, he was down for anything, which I really appreciated.
It seems like the Chicago athletes are pretty, open to things.
Yeah.
What's your experience been with talking to Chicago athletes in general?
Oh my God, they've been so nice. Just last week before Christmas, we went to an event where DJ Moore surprised like 10 kids from the Boys and Girls Club with shopping spree. So he helped them shop. He gave them gift cards and they were all so excited. And I was doing my live shot in front of DJ, like he was there with his family. And at one point he kind of photobombed me and came in my shot and just had fun with it, like not all these guys do that. So, and that was right after that game against Green Bay. So he was like the, hero of the week. And he kind of photobombed my live shot and had fun with me and just is open to talking to the media, is willing to talk not only about the event that he was at, but also him as a player and how he feels about making the playoffs, making that catch, beating Green Bay, wearing the cheese grater hat, right? Like there's just, at the end of the day, they're all people. So it's nice when they're easy to talk to.
Yeah, the cheese grater, that was legendary stuff right there. That
was, and now it's selling out everywhere. It's so cool. I need one of those.
Yeah, like you said, you've had all these experiences interviewing people and learning from different people about interviews and how to ask questions and things like that. How have you kind of developed your own way of showing your personality or in your writing or how you ask questions?
That's a good question. I think I've always loved writing. I was a journalism major in college, so it's always been important to me that any good reporter should be a good writer first. And so I've really tried to focus on my writing skills and writing in a way that's interesting and to the point and direct. I've always tried to be less wordy. I think I'm a little bit wordy sometimes, so I'm trying to trim words, trim time. I'll edit a package with my photographer and I'll only have 1:30. He's like, okay, it's 2:10 right now. You need to cut down 40 seconds. I'm like, great. So, sometimes it's just hard to trim it all down, but I've learned a lot about writing and being precise, and I got to do a feature last summer on the Wrigley Field scoreboard and go into the scoreboard and get to see how it operates and who runs it and the history behind it. It's only one of two hand-powered scoreboards left in the game between that and Fenway. So I wanted that piece to be really well written. And I did a piece on the buzzer beater and the Bulls game when they change over the ice to court. And I wanted that piece to be really well written. So it's just important to me to kind of think it through. What's my lead? What's the most important piece of information that everyone should know right up front? And then I kind of build around that and find interesting ways to weave in special storylines. I watch CBS Sunday Morning, on the road with Steve Hartman and stuff like that. And I just love the writing of those people. And even though they're news reporters, you can learn a lot about how to write a good sports story from them.
For sure. Yeah. No, you always can watch people and then kind of see and kind of adapt it into your own voice.
Right. Not copying, but just emulating in a way that's hey, I like a little bit of what he does. I like a little bit of what she does, and just kind of making it your own.
Exactly. And with interviews and things like that, you've had so many reps. Has that made you more comfortable just having all these different, on location, talking to players and things like that?
150%. And I used to get mad when my mentors would say you need more reps. I'd be like, what does that even mean? But then once you do it and you get a lot of reps and you're doing it daily, you work at a station, live shots every day, stand-ups every day, in studio anchoring every day, you're immediately better. Like you start getting better and you see it and you're like, oh, that's what they meant when they said get more reps. They do make all the difference. And I tell students now, like, you just need more reps. You just got to get comfortable out there. That's all it is. And get comfortable in your body and how you move your arms and how you talk and how you say things. And I'm still not perfect or where I want to be by any means. I'm always getting better, but I'm getting more and more comfortable, and it feels good. Because even like I watched my reel from May and I'm already like, oh, I need a new reel. I'm better than that. That was 6 months ago, and so you see progress a little bit faster now that you're doing it more. When I was just freelancing and kind of not doing gigs as frequently, it was harder to get better faster.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you always want to change up your reel because you're like, oh man, that sounds terrible, or I look terrible, or whatever.
And once before you thought it was great, right? Like before you're like, it's my best work, and now you're like, oh, hey, I could take that out and put something new in.
Yeah.
So it's been really cool to see the progress, and I think you don't have to be at market 3 to see that progress. Like anytime you're getting consistent reps at a station or whatever, it's progress. And I kind of regret not going the local route sooner, because I think I would have been better faster at a younger age. So I've been telling people that like want to freelance like me, they're like, oh, I don't really want to go to a local station. I'm like, no, do it now. Like do it now for a couple years. And if you want to get it out of the way, that's fine, but do it now, because it'll change you as a person. And it'll change your ability and it'll make you more hireable.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I've been in 2 markets now, and I've seen so much growth in the way that I'm talking too. I mean, I would be afraid to talk to people sometimes, and now I'm just like, I can have a podcast here talking to people for, 45 minutes to an hour, and it's no problem. So definitely come a long way there.
Totally.
Looking back at those like United Center stand-ups you were talking about though, how have you developed your own personality through your voice since then?
Oh my gosh. I was blonde then, Nick. I was blonde. So that was the dark time. No, I'm kidding. But I was not confident then. My arms would shake when I would do stand-ups. I was like moving my chicken arm too much, or I just didn't have like a power in my voice at all. And I'm still working on that because I'm small. So it's hard to have like a powerful from your diaphragm, tone. But I just think I try to approach every live shot or every stand-up or every in-studio shot with a warmth. I want to be warm on camera. And so I try to make sure that I'm friendly and conversational, but also myself, because there's already a Jenny Taft. There's already an Aaron Andrews. There's already a, whoever, right? Like Terry Bradshaw, if you're an analyst or whatever. There's only one you. There's only one Nick. There's only one me. And so you kind of have to just like ride that wave and be you, because that's what got you here. And so I do try to like work on the power in my voice, the pace, the tone. I'm always trying to work on like breathing exercises and making sure I'm like drinking tea before a show, so I'm not like stuttering over my words. But it's hard because sometimes you're rushing and you're doing a million things and you don't get to prep the way you want to. But I don't know. I'm sure you can relate to that. Like always trying to find different inflections and stuff like that.
I'm doing the how now brown cows before I go on there. You already know, like the Ron Burgundy.
On purpose and opening my lips like this.
Yeah. I just think of Ron Burgundy every time I do that. It's just hilarious.
Brown cow.
Now, we are recording this on New Year's Eve. It'll be 2026 when this is out for the people. What are you looking forward to most in the new year?
Oh, man, that's a great question, too. I have to think about that. I haven't done my resolutions yet. Just continued growth, just the excitement of spring coming. It's cold in Chicago. The snow's on the ground. I'm ready for spring already. Just to continue to excel at my job. And I'm getting married in 2026, so I'm really excited about that personally. Although I will say, wedding planning while having a job and doing sport is a lot. It's a lot of work. Don't recommend.
You're getting through it, though.
Yes, we're making it through. We're almost there. We're 6 months out. And it'll be fun. It'll be a June celebration. But I'm just excited to keep covering sports, doing what I love, building friendships like this, and, just growing. I mean, I love a resolution. Yeah, I want to like get fit for my wedding and like save money and all that stuff. And I mean that. But at the end of the day, like I just think it's about being happy, being around friends and family, and just doing what you love, because that's rare,
Yeah. No, yeah, you always want to be around the people that love you and support you, and that's what gets you through.
Yeah, and I'm excited for baseball season too. That's even though I'm
Yes,
wearing a Bears
yeah.
hat, I will say my bread and butter, my favorite sport is baseball. So I'm excited to see what the Cubs can do again this year and just kind of how that goes.
Nothing like having a hot dog or a brat and a beer and just sitting outside and watching a baseball game.
It's the best. So I grew up loving baseball. I actually grew up near Cleveland in Youngstown, Ohio. Girard, Ohio is where I'm from, and we grew up Cleveland fans. So it's kind of like I want Cleveland to do well, but I also want the Cubs to do well.
There you go.
Yeah.
What I mean, that World Series. I mean, who are you rooting for in that World Series 2016?
Well, okay, so then I was living in Ohio, so I was rooting for Cleveland, which I know is like I shouldn't say that in Chicago, but I was happy for the Cubs. I mean, if you're going to lose to a team, who deserves it more than them, right?
Yeah.
And now Cleveland's had the longest drought, so they're due, I think. We'll see.
There you go. Kacy, where can people follow you and all your work?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram at Kacy Standohar, and then on X, Kacy Standohar, my full name. Add me on LinkedIn, Twitter, or X. I always call it Twitter still. Wherever.
Yeah, we can still call it that. That's okay.
Yeah, and watch NBC Chicago if you're in town or on the app. So I'm so grateful for the time, Nick. It's been great to talk to you and catch up, and excited to see what you've been doing. This podcast obviously been a success this Bears season too.
Oh yeah, thank you. And it's been great talking to you too, Kacy. And make sure you like and subscribe to the channel as well. Always appreciate the viewers, and hopefully they got a good inside look into the Bears this season from you.
Yes, hope so. Thank you again, Nick.
All right, have a great week, Kacy.
You too.